While this season is probably going to be another long season in San Jose, that doesn't mean there's going to be bright spots. Today, I'm going to highlight 3 players who I think are going to have breakout campaigns, including William Eklund, Filip Zadina, and Henry Thrun. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at Inside the Rink. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And we're going to be talking about all the 3 candidates who I think are going to have breakout seasons for the that being William Eklund, Filip Zadina, and Henry Thrun. Full disclosure, I recorded this whole episode and the audio basically got lost for the first segment, so I'm re-recording the William Eklund segment. So if the audio sounds different or anything weird, if the placements of the stuff behind me is a little bit off for the first segment compared to the second or third segment, I do apologize. Technology is great, right? But let's dig into why I think William Eklund is going to have that breakout season. And so William Eklund, right? 3 years on his ELC left at $863K. Last season, did play 8 games, did have 2 goals, of course, one being a penalty shot goal, plus an assist as well. 18 shots on goal, played 1950 average time on ice, Corsi for 51.06%, goals for 20%. So when Eklund was on the ice, they did a good job of controlling the pace of play, just got unlucky with the goals given up. And we know what the Sharks team looked like at the end of the season when Eklund was called up after the trade deadline. A lot of new guys and new places there. So his evolving hockey card, not much to see because he didn't really get a chance, didn't really put up enough ice time to qualify. His goals above replacement's a tiny, tiny bit below average. But again, small sample size. He played 159 minutes last year in all situations, but you can take away some stuff. Plenty of opportunity, even strength time on ice that, was playing 15 minutes a night at even strength time on ice and was getting a ton of power play opportunity as well. Even got a little bit of shorthanded opportunity as well. So good to see Eklund getting a bunch of different opportunities. But the reason why I think Eklund is primed for that breakout campaign that we've been waiting for since the Sharks drafted for him is the shooting. If you look back into when Eklund was drafted, and remember he got the 9 games before being sent back to Sweden, he took 8 shots in those 9 games. Of course, he had 4 assists, all those on 1 even strength 4 or 3 power play, was playing about 14 minutes a night during that time. Last season, 8 games with the Sharks, he got 18 shot attempts in 8 games. That is about 2 1/3 shots per game. This skill translated. Remember when they drafted him, you knew Eklund was going to be, he's going to be kind of a setup guy, right? That's kind of the role he has. But the Sharks wanted him to shoot more. That was kind of the thing that they talked to him about, was getting more shots on net, just shooting the puck more. And you saw that with the Barracuda last year. In 54 games, Eklund took 126 shots on goal. That's about 2 1/3 shots on goal last year. So you can see he is still being aggressive with his shots. Even going from the AHL to the NHL, granted small sample size, but you can see, right, that is there, that he's still taking shots and he's still going to be an active shooter for the Sharks this year. And don't know if Eklund, I still think Eklund starts the season with San Jose, but if he does start the season with the Barracuda, I don't think he's going to be on the Barracuda very long because I think he's just too good. I think he's still one of the Sharks' 6 best forwards. Even with the additions of Duclair and Hoffman and Granlund and, Zadina and everybody else they've added this offseason, I still think William Eklund's one of their best forwards. And at some point, you got to rip the Band-Aid off and let him play in the NHL. But going back to the shooting, right? So let's just say Eklund plays 75 games for the Sharks this year, right? Maybe he doesn't, maybe injury, maybe they send him down, maybe he sits out a couple games, here and there because, whatever it is. So let's just say he plays 75 games. If he averages that 2.3 shots per, or we'll just say 2.5 to make it a little bit easier for Matt. So, so he averages 70. If he plays 75 games, puts 2.5 shots on goal, that's 187.5 shots. So we'll just round up to 190, make it easy, right? The average shooting percentage in the NHL is 10%. That will put Eklund at 19 goals for next year, which would be huge for the Sharks. Adding in his full rookie campaign, being a 19 goal scorer would be absolutely massive for the Sharks to set that foundation for them. So again, we'll see where they kind of line up with where if he does actually play the full season or where he plays, et cetera, et cetera. But 19 points for 19 goals to start out with for a guy who wasn't really known for his goal scoring ability. I think that would be a great start. Remember, he scored 17 goals in the AHL last year in 54 games. So finally hit the back of the net. Probably could have had a couple extra goals here and there, in his other time. But 19 goals last year would have that would have been 5th on the team behind Timo Meier, who's not on the team anymore, Logan Couture, Erik Karlsson, not on the team anymore, Tomas Hertl. That would have put him between Hertl and Barabanov if he scores 18 goals this year. So that would be one of the better performances. But that sets the foundation, right? And especially as he continues to grow and, work his way and gets through those rookie lumps, progresses, you start adding some more talent and guys like Will Smith and Musty and Gushin and Robbins and all these other guys start to make having a guy like Eklund we know his ability to facilitate, his ability to pass, his vision, but adding that shooting, again, I don't expect Eklund to ever be like a 35, 40 goal scorer, but he could, I think, a 25 to 30 goal scorer kind of as his career, maybe have a season that pops off a little bit, but being that guy, that would be huge for the Sharks going forward. So, I think for him, that breakout season is going to come the season that we've been waiting for. And I think the patience that the Sharks have shown, right, as Mike Greer likes to say, that over-ripen their development, that is going to come this year. And I think we're going to see it with Eklund. Even if he doesn't make the team, I still think he makes the team out of training camp. But even if he doesn't, when he gets to the Sharks, I think we're going to see the Eklund that we've been waiting to see since he was drafted. So before we continue, talk about Filip Zadina and why I think go back to shooting percentages, why I think Zadina is ready to break out this year. Do need to take a quick break. Talk to you about our good friends over at Athletic Greens. And if you want to take control of your nutrition, Athletic Greens is the way to start. I know it being busy, right? Maybe you're sitting at your desk all day, you're eating whatever you can get, you got the snack drawer next to you, just trying to get through the day. What if you could start your day with the ultimate daily nutritional assurance? With a single scoop of AG1 in a glass of water, you can do just that. Absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, help start your day right. Athletic Greens is created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up with a complicated supplement routine to recover. It costs him over $100 a day, which just isn't sustainable. He created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create optimal nutrition on his own. And he did this all for just $3 a day. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL-network. Again, athleticgreens.com/NHL-network to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So, Mr. Zadina, who the Sharks acquired or signed this offseason after he terminated his contract with the Detroit Red Wings. And for Zadina, again, it's signed a 1-year, $1.1 million deal. Last year dealt with injuries. That has been the thing that has plagued him the most in his career, is dealing with injuries. Played 30 games last year, had 3 goals, 4 assists, 51 shots on goal. Only averaged 13.06 average time on ice. Corsi for 48%, goals for 42%. Looking at his numbers from last year, played a little under 400 minutes total. Was around second line minutes for the Red Wings. Got a little, basically power play 2 opportunities and played 2 minutes of shorthanded. And I think for Zadina is going to kind of come down to just opportunity, right? Again, I know the Sharks have added some players in, this offseason. Guys like Hoffman, Duclair, Granlund, like they've added some players, but I still think Zadina is going to end up being one of the Sharks' top 6 forward by the end of the season. And again, he's only 24, right? Like you're looking at this as a potential. So he turns 24 in November. Sorry, doesn't even turn 24 yet. So turns 24 in November. This could be one of those post-hype breakout type of players where he's struggled, what didn't fit in with Detroit, and maybe just a second chance is going to be huge for him. So I think opportunity is going to be there, right? Sharks, they want to see, like, he is still young enough where he can be a massive piece for the Sharks going forward if everything goes well, right? Being 24, like, he still fits in the timeline with the Smith, Muskie, Eklund era, like Bordeaux, like he still fits in that timeline with those guys where he can be a huge piece. Like, he's going to be entering their prime, maybe just a little bit before those guys, but he's still going to be like, he's not going to age out of this new window for the Sharks. And I think they want to see what they have in Zadina, right? He's still an RFA, so you still own his rights. So if he has a great season, you can, you still own his rights for next year. Or if you want to send him to a long, like you have options with him. So you want to see what you have with him. And like I said, when I made the claim that they should, either claim or sign Zadina, I think playing with just good centers is going to be so helpful to him. Playing with a guy like Couture or playing with a guy like Hurdle or Granlund, who I know last year was bad and he has a sneak on him, but 2 years ago he was a 40-goal scorer and he was a point per game forward for the Predators. Like, I don't think Zadina has had a chance to play a lot of minutes with kind of top quality centermen. So I think this is going to be a big opportunity for him. And for him, I think it just comes down to maybe a little bit better puck luck. So again, like I mentioned before, the NHL shooting average is right around 10%. So I think it's like 9.8. What do I say? 10% for easy math. Here is Zadina's shooting percentages the last couple seasons. So as a rookie, in his 9 games, he had a 5.6 shooting percentage. His age 20 season, 1920, 13.3. Then he had 6.2, 6.5, 5.9. So he's just been well below average with his shooting percentage. Maybe it's just a Noah Gregor's 2.0 situation where he does everything right and just can't hit the back of the net. But I think there's just positive regression coming at some point for Zadina. And who knows if he just runs out of chances and just never hits that. But like, again, this guy was known for his scoring ability when he was drafted. I just think there's positive regression coming for him at some point. So the combination of playing with better centers, right? Nothing against Pius Suter, who I think is a very solid defensive center, but playing against better centers and potentially just positive shooting regression is going to be more helpful. And again, I think the opportunity is going to be there, right? He played 13 minutes a night last season. I think he's going to be up around, 16, 17 minutes a night for the Sharks coming up, just because, again, I know they've added a bunch of pieces, but I think they want to invest in Filip Zadina. Again, they're not going to just give him stuff, but I think they want to see what they have with him, if he can be an answer to a question in the future, or was this, just a one-year thing that just didn't work out for him. So, right, if again, if he can just get some puck luck with his shooting, so that's going to be it's going to be huge for him. And like the last season where he was kind of healthy for the most year, that he played 74 games in the 21-22 season, he took 154 shots in 74 games. So like he's again right around that 2 shots a game threshold. If he can if he can do that and get some better puck luck, like he could be a potential 20-goal scorer for the Sharks. Do I think it happens? We'll see. But again, I think it's still young enough where he could just be one of those post-hype breakout candidates, especially with a new situation where he wanted to come to San Jose, right? He wanted to work. He mentioned, speaking with David Quinn, talking with Quinn, he wanted to come to San Jose. He wanted to be here. I think him and the Sharks are going to do everything they can to make sure that this works for both parties. So, I think the post-hype breakout for Zadina is real, and I think the Sharks are going to be looking back a year from now going, I can't believe we got Zadina, for $1.1 million. And if it doesn't work, cool, man. You can cut your ties, and you've got plenty of guys who can start to kind of filter in through the system. So, but again, I just love taking the chance on a guy that high, he was a 6th overall pick. Like, this is not just some random dude. Like, he was highly touted for a reason, and I think he's just had bad luck with injuries and bad luck with shooting percentage. And I think this is the year where it all comes together for him. So, before we continue and discuss Henry Thrun, I think kind of like William Eklund, where maybe doesn't make the Sharks out of camp, but I think Henry Thrun is going to be a huge piece for the Sharks going forward. Do want to take a quick break. Thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Again, proudly a part of the Locked On Network, where we cover your team every day, or at least 3 days a week right now during the off season. So rest of this week, we've got we're probably going to be looking at the Sharks prospect pool and where they rank. You might hear a little bit from our friends over at the Locked On NHL Prospect podcast. So I think we got something coming up with them. And then we're going to be checking in with the newest team in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken, doing the state of the franchise with our friend Erica from over at Locked On Kraken. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, so Henry Thrun, who the Sharks acquired last offseason from the Anaheim Ducks for a, 2024 third or 2025 third round pick in one of the upcoming drafts. This signing, again, a lot of people were kind of like, oh, why are you giving up a guy, third round pick for a defenseman, who didn't want to sign with the Ducks, right? That was the reason. Third round pick, the cost of business for that. You've seen I think the Kings traded a third round pick to the Sabres for a prospect who wasn't going to sign with them. That's just kind of the cost of business for those guys. It's kind of been the established cost of business for these college guys who don't want to sign for you coming out. But we saw Henry Thrun, he played 8 games for the Sharks last year at the end of the season and looked very much every bit of an NHL player. So pull up his stats here. He, in 8 games, 0 goals, 2 assists, both came on the first game, his first NHL game. Did have 7 shots on goal, played 1952 average time on ice. So you saw Quinn was not afraid to throw him out there. Corsi for 4604, goals for 43.75. So and he has 1 year left on his ELC. So just as a reminder, right, he burned the with his age. It was a 2-year ELC. He burned the first season last year, and that's kind of, again, that cost of doing business to get a guy to sign with you. For him, right, he wants to get to free agency quicker so he can get that bigger contract. That's again. So we saw the same thing with Bordello. You see that with a lot of college guys, right? Where you kind of burn that first year. I wouldn't be surprised. Will Smith, kind of the same thing. If you want him to, burning that first year to get him to come play with you. Thrun again he played 159 minutes in 8 games last year. The numbers didn't really qualify for a full-on player card, but some positive numbers overall. He played, like I said, he played a ton of minutes last year, got some power play minutes, didn't play too much on the penalty kill, but overall pretty positive. Like his goals above replacement was good. Everything else was pretty much even. Did a good job of not taking penalties last year as well. But I think with Thrun is you're getting a guy who, like I said, maybe his upside isn't as high as some of the other defensemen in the pipeline, right? But I just think you're going to get a super, super smooth quality number 4 defenseman for several years. I think it's just going to be one of those guys he's going to be the Mario Ferraro that we all hoped Mario Ferraro would be. Again, nothing against Mario Ferraro. You guys know my thoughts on Mario Ferraro. But I think he is going to be that guy. And would you be surprised if Henry Thrun, all said and done, is the 1,000-game defenseman in the NHL? I wouldn't, just because I just think he's that smooth and that I think he's just that good, right? He's going to go about his business. He's going to be a quality defenseman for years to come. And David Quinn loves him, right? Made it a point to bring when David Quinn was coaching Team USA and the World Championships, made it a point to bring Thrun. Plenty of other American defensemen out there. Not that Henry Thrun wasn't deserving, but made it a point to bring Henry Thrun out there with him. Again, I don't know if the numbers game right now for Thrun, he's going to be fighting for a job come training camp. But like, if he doesn't make the team, he's going to be on the Barracuda for a little bit and probably going to be on the Sharks at some point this year, just because of either injuries or trades or just guys' poor play, right? Look at the guys that could be potentially in front of him. Radim Shimmick, who's in the last year of his deal. McDonald, who's been a career kind of AHL, NHL defenseman. The guys in front of him, I think Henry Thrun will eventually be better than. And for a team that's going to be going nowhere, I think getting Henry Thrun a full NHL season where he can kind of learn from his mistakes. He's going to make mistakes, right? Young defenseman, learn from his mistakes, grow his game, all that fun stuff. And I just think he is going to, by the end of the season, we're going to kind of be able, just lock in Henry Thrun as your 4th defenseman for the next 10 years type of player from him. So what does a breakout mean for a kind of more defensive defenseman like Henry Thrun? Well, I still think he's going to be able to provide offense, but what if Thrun is kind of in that 20 to 25 point range? Let's look back at our old friend Mario Ferraro. What he did with the Sharks. So prior to the COVID season, right, he played 61 games, had 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. So if Thrun is kind of maybe in that 60 to 65 games, I could see him, maybe look like there's going to be more opportunities offensively. Remember that team, that Ferraro team, you had Carlson, you had Burn, there was plenty more guys who were kind of taking the offensive opportunities. There's not really that guy for the Sharks right now. So maybe Thrun gets a little bit more opportunity offensively. So maybe Thrun's in that 20 to 25 point range where he's got 5 goals and a bunch of assists. But working on his penalty kill, playing, that 18 to 20 minutes a night for the Sharks, right? Mario Ferraro, his first season, he played under 16 minutes. And then the next season, he made that jump to 22, 23. And then last year kind of fell down a little bit to 21 minutes per game as there was kind of more players to help insulate Mario Ferraro. But I just think maybe Thrun has a little bit more offensive game than Mario Ferraro does and did did at the time. We were kind of waiting for Ferraro to take that next step offensively that he just never did. And I think Thrun maybe has that gear in him just because we've seen it with him in college. Again, last year, I know when he was out there, he was kind of playing with some random guys. But I feel like there's going to be that offensive game for him. I don't expect Thrun to ever be like a 40 or 50 point guy, but I just think that his smooth ability to like just stay calm no matter what, get the puck out. And the Sharks don't really have a transition guy. And I think Thrun, watching a little bit of him in college, you could see that transition game there a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be like a transition monster type of player, but I think he can get the puck out of his zone. I think he's going to be cool and calm in his own zone. And I think he's going to be able to provide a little bit of offense. And plus Quinn loves him. So that's why I think Henry Thrun, again, maybe he doesn't start this season with the Sharks, but I think he's too good to be with the Barracuda for long. And I think he's going to be on the Sharks for a good chunk of this season, if not all the season. So, Henry Thrun, breakout campaign where he becomes your fourth defenseman for the next 10 years type of thing. Almost like I don't want to say Justin Braun, but like a Braun and Ferraro, like the hype of Ferraro and Justin Braun, if you kind of combine those, I feel like that's what you're going to get with Henry Thrun, where he's going to be good defensively, maybe not Justin Braun good, but I think he's going to also provide a little bit more offense than both those guys. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back. So again, the 3 episode schedule is usually going to be Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays. So Wednesday, probably going to be discussing where the Sharks prospect pipeline kind of ranks, looking at what other kind of around the hockey sphere where the teams have the Sharks prospect ranks, what our locked on NHL prospects guys think where the Sharks rank, and kind of my thoughts on it as well. And then look at the state of the franchise of the Seattle Kraken. That'll be Thursday's episode as well. We also have a good interview lined up for next week, so make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course you can watch on YouTube as well. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter and Threads at My Fry Hole. Keep an eye out at Inside the Rink this week. We're going to be kicking off player season previews. So me and some of the guys at Inside the Rink, we're going to be going through every day, basically Monday through Friday for the next month and a half. You're going to get a player preview on basically everybody. So a lot of good stuff coming out. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. Follow me on social media, and then till Wednesday. Bye, friends.